Mr. Speaker, there are reports that President Trump withdrew the 5-year sunset clause negotiating tool within NAFTA negotiations. Can the Prime Minister indicate whether this is true?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the member opposite for the question. Allow me to first begin by thanking the members of the opposition, indeed all Canadians, for demonstrating that when the moment is right, we all stand together firmly to support Canadians across party lines, across the country, across all provinces. It is a very clear message and a testament to who we are as Canadians. On this specific issue, I can say that we are continuing to discuss modernizing and improving NAFTA. We've continued to make it clear that a final sunset clause is unacceptable, that we cannot sign a trade deal that automatically expires every 5 years. But we continue to look for ways to move forward, to modernize, improve NAFTA for people on both sides of the border.
Honourable member for Milton.
So, Mr. Speaker, we understand Canada's position that it's very difficult to sign a trade deal that's sunset after 5 years. But the crux of the question is this. Did the President of the United States remove this demand from the negotiating table? Yes or no?
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I had a meeting with the President on Friday afternoon in which we had a very constructive conversation on a broad range of issues. We've continued to impress upon how important it is to modernize and improve NAFTA, and we will continue to engage on a broad range of issues where Canada is standing firm, where the United States is looking for concessions. We're going to continue to work and demonstrate that, no, we will not accept a sunset clause in NAFTA.
Honourable member for Milton.
I'm going to take that as a yes. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, without the Prime Minister indicating to the Canadian people whether or not this was removed from the table, we have to understand that the answer is yes. A protracted trade war with respect to this issue has a significant impact on Canadian families. A company in Milton, Ontario. I can't hear.
Order. The Honourable member for Milton has the floor. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A protracted trade war will have a significant impact on Canadian families. A company in my riding alone, Whirlpool, has indicated that it's going to increase the costs, not only in terms of household appliances, but also to their own bottom line, putting in jeopardy jobs in my community. Mr. Speaker, you know, there is an easy way for the government in order to deal with this, and that is recognizing affordability is so important and shelving their carbon tax and making sure that payroll taxes are reduced. Will they do that?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to be crystal clear on the previous question. As far as we know, the U.S. has not removed its demand for some sort of sunset clause. On the issue of tariffs, our issue that we have said multiple times to the United States is that they move forward with punitive tariffs on trade in aluminum and steel. Not only are they putting a threat on Canadian workers and Canadian industry, but they're actually going to hurt American workers as well, American consumers as well. This is not in the interests of two countries that have the closest and best trading relationship and alliance in the history of the world. We're going to continue to stand for that.
Honourable member for Toronto-Tabasco. Mr. Speaker, the Liberal government increased Canada's debt by $71 billion when the economy was doing well. Secondly, the President of the Royal Bank of Canada says that he's concerned because since the Liberals were elected, there's been a massive outflow of Canadian capital to other countries. And third, we've seen foreign investments drop by over a third since this Prime Minister was elected. And I haven't even talked about the impact that the carbon tax could have. In the face of all of this data, how can the Prime Minister say that he is supporting our economy? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, in the last election, Canadians had a choice between a Conservative government that was proposing austerity and cuts and a Liberal government that proposed investing in Canadians and giving more money to the middle class while taxing the wealthiest a little more. Canadians made the right choice. We are creating economic growth. In 2017, our growth was was the highest among G7 countries, and we will continue to make hundreds of thousands of jobs across the country. We are building a strong economy that works for all. The honourable member for Richmond Athabasca. Mr. Speaker, here are the real facts. A deficit of $71 billion that our children and grandchildren will have to pay for. A carbon tax that will increase the cost of living for Canadians. A massive loss of investments, which hurts our economy. And today, since this Liberal government was elected, 81% of Canadian families, according to the Fraser Institute, pay more taxes than under the former government. So how can the Prime Minister accept this, and what will he do to support workers? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives and the Fraser Institute don't want to talk about the Canada Child Benefit. And I think that this is an important thing to talk about. What we did is we gave more money to 9 out of 10 families all across the country. We did that by not sending checks to the wealthiest families. And we were able to lift hundreds of thousands of children out of poverty. That is the approach that we took with the Canada Child Benefit. It's an approach that the Conservatives didn't want and that they voted against, Mr. Speaker. The honourable member for Rimouski-Neigette, Québec-Basque.
Mr. Speaker, the Upper Nicola Indian Band will be building the largest solar project in British Columbia. Yet, with Kinder Morgan crossing the backyards, they'll soon have a clash of two visions on their land. On the one hand, a symbol of the future chosen by its members, and on the other hand, a pipeline imposed by the federal government. Global climate leaders don't spend billions on publicly funded pipelines. Will the government admit that this is a failure of leadership on their part?
Hear, hear.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Federal Court of Appeal was clear when they said that the Harper government had insufficiently consulted with Indigenous peoples on energy projects. Our government has completed the deepest consultations with rights holders ever on a major project in this country, and we established a co-developing monitoring committee with Indigenous communities. 43 Indigenous communities have signed benefit agreements. We have listened, and we will continue to listen. For the first time in Canadian history, many Indigenous peoples have been involved and will benefit as we share prosperity in our energy sector.
Honourable member for Rimouski-Neigette,
doesn't seem to realize that on this, the purchase of pipeline, he is on the wrong side of history, Mr. Speaker. C'est pas les projets de transition énergétique qui manquent.
There's no lack of energy transition projects, but workers need to be at the heart of this transition, which will create thousands of high-quality, long-term jobs, the jobs of the future. But spending billions of dollars to buy a 65-year-old leaky pipeline without the consent of Indigenous communities, well, that's not a vision of the future, Mr. Speaker. So how can the Prime Minister think that he will help Canada keep its climate change commitments when buying a pipeline? Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the NDP supported Rachel Notley's environment plan, but forgot what was actually in that plan. A cap on oil sands development, a price on pollution, and a pipeline to get oil to markets other than the U.S. That's real leadership on climate change. We are imposing a price on pollution, we are phasing out carbon, and we are investing in clean technology. That is what progressives like Rachel Notley understand, and it's unfortunate to see the NDP opposed to that. The honourable member for Rosemont-Petite. Mr. Speaker, saying that the environment and the economy go hand in hand while buying a pipeline is a bit like saying that exercise and good eating go together while stuffing your face with donuts and cake. Why are the Liberals refusing to invest in a fair energy transition? Workers are ready, and companies are ready. We need to create workers for the jobs of tomorrow. How can the Liberals justify blowing $4.5 billion of our money on an old pipeline rather than investing in clean energy? The federal NDP, like the Conservatives, still think that you need to choose between the economy and the environment. But that's no longer the case, and progressive leaders like Rachel Notley have understood that. That's why, in addition to a limit on oil sands development and a price on pollution, her plan included having a pipeline to get oil to markets other than the U.S., something that Canadians can certainly understand is needed today. And that's, of course, in addition to investing in renewable energy and a greener economy. We also invested $8 billion in that because we know it's important for Canadians.